Hello, my name is Alon. I am a Shinshin in Toronto. I work at the Toronto Heschel School, at City Shul, and at Darkei Noam. And with me is...
Hi, I'm Yael. I'm Alon's mother.
So, Ima, I brought you here because recently I spoke on the phone with your mother, Safta Sima. So I wanted to hear from her about her mother, Magda, who was a Holocaust survivor, and learn more about her story. So Magda, of course, was your grandmother. And before I dive into her Holocaust story, as I heard it recounted, could you please tell me about Safta Magda's character, about your connection with her growing up?
Sure. She loved spending time with her grandchildren. We loved reading books together. She had a special dish called tapuacham, which is like hot apple that we prepared together, which was lots of fun. She was also always on our side. If there was any argument or anything, she was always in the grandchildren favor.
I'll now recount to you Magda's story as Sima, your mom, recalled it to me on the phone. So Magda Greenberg was born in Czechoslovakia in 1924 to a very rich family. She had one older brother, and they lived prosperously in a villa on the outskirts of a town. So her family was actually mostly unaffected by Nazism until the very end of the war. And in the very end of the war, in 1944, the Germans continued to occupy Czechoslovakia, and Magda's parents began to fear for their daughter's safety. And they chose to send their housemaid to protect Magda wherever she ended up, and they promised that housemaid a very large payout at the end. So the family's fear came true. Indeed, Magda was sent to Auschwitz in a cattle car when she was 20 years old. But the family's housemaid went along with her by her side. So she was in Auschwitz, which was terrible, but she had some kind of support, which other prisoners there did not have. So in Auschwitz, Magda saw and experienced horrors. One memory that Safta Sima mentioned to me is that Magda saw one of her best friends, who had become sick, being pushed into a ditch, alive, and just buried alive within the ditch, and Safta Magda hearing screams from within the ground. In 1945, the Soviets were trying to liberate Auschwitz. The Germans wanted to flee this enemy force, so they chose to march the Jews from one concentration camp to the next, towards Germany, in an attempt to escape the Soviets. So this came to be called the Death March. 50,000 inmates departed Auschwitz, but only 500 made it through to liberation, because along the way there were hundreds of miles of treacherous walking. So Magda was actually among those who survived the Death March, and she was able to make it also because she was a strong young woman, but also because she had her housemaid by her side, and she was able to protect her. Her housemaid actually made sure that no one stole her shoes during the very cold journey. So Safta Magda eventually made it to Israel, where she united with her brother. And years later, Magda wanted to track down that housemaid that had protected her through Auschwitz, through the Death March. She wanted to compensate her for what she had done. So they searched with a private investigator, and they found that housemaid living in the United States. She was the owner of a bakery. But when they met with the housemaid, she declined their money. She asked them not to speak with her husband or with her children about what she had done during the war. So she had very, very brave actions, but she wanted to disassociate herself with them. Ima, I wanted to ask, from your memories with Safta Magda, did she speak a lot about her experiences in Auschwitz and the Death March and the war overall?
No, I've never heard this story actually. I knew she was in Auschwitz, but I didn't know any of the details.
I see. Do you have any guess as to why maybe she didn't speak very much about her experiences during the war?
I'm assuming this was so painful that she didn't want to speak about it or remember any of this, and she was maybe trying to protect us also from those horrors.
Right. So I think you're right, and I asked Safta Sima, your mom, this same question, and I think she said the same thing, and she added She added, first of all, that every time Safta Magda would hear a Yiddish song on the radio, she would start to cry because memories of speaking Yiddish in her childhood came up, and her parents did not survive the Holocaust. So Safta Sima said that Magda did talk about her experience a few times throughout her life, such as when she visited the Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C., and when she visited her childhood home in Czechoslovakia. Safta Sima said that each survivor, she thinks, has their own way of dealing with their trauma. So some like to talk about it a lot, to inform the world and make sure everyone knows, everybody here, what they have gone through. In the case of Safta Magda, keeping her stories to herself was probably her way of coping, and this was her way of growing into the joyful person which you described.
Safta Magda was the most optimistic person I've ever known, which is, at least for me, was a surprise because I've never connected her with stories about the Holocaust because she was always laughing, very optimistic. She loved animals. She really, really loved us, the grandchildren, and she always wanted us to be happy. So it was a bit hard for me to connect, her story and her personality to the thing I knew about the Holocaust.
I personally don't have any memories with Safta Magda. Did she meet me? Did she know me?
Yes, she did, and she really, really expected you to be born. I think she was already pretty ill when I got pregnant with you, but she was really waiting to see you.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so excited, and she loved Guy, your older brother. Guy was excited so much about cars. He was like so enthusiastic about cars. So she spent time with him, and they counted cars from her
From her
house,
balcony?
from the balcony. Yeah, this was really funny.
Right on, right on. Well, I'm a little sad that I don't have personally any memories with her, but it is really inspiring to hear about the person she was.
I want to add that she actually founded, in my opinion, an incredible family. Both her daughter and her son, Ido, are still incredible people that I'm very proud to be part of my family. I still feel she's with me wherever I go, which is pretty amazing.
Okay, well,
Thank you, Alon.
Thank you, Ima.